the state of the gear industry post COVID, which was kind of the same thing that I added in the beginning, where I said the industry, the MI, the musical instrument industry, is in trouble. Why is that, and how can we get out of it? And I'd like to start with us making ourselves part of the equation. So here's my question: when you buy gear, are you going into stores or are you buying it online? And if you do both, what would be the percentage?
I would say that for like since 2016, 17, somewhere around there, I've been buying gear online the majority of the time.
Mm-hmm.
Like I would say 90%, like without inflating. I think it's probably closer to 90. And that has to do with the fact that originally where I lived in Canada, music stores, I mean, they are few and far between. There's not that many. We have the biggest chain we had out there is Long and McQuaid.
Yeah.
So that's kind of like a guitar center, if you will, but for Canada.
Mm-hmm.
And they only have them in towns that are big enough to hold them. So you don't find them everywhere. And some of them are so small, like you walk in and it's about like the size of a small apartment. They got a few guitars, trumpets, stuff like that. So if you go online with Long and McQuaid or Guitar Center or Tolman, that's where most of the gear is. So you're looking at the warehouse availability for those products, right? So you go, okay, there's that pedal. They don't have it at the store, so I'm going to buy it there. And I'll try it out. And they have a return guarantee. So if I don't like it after 30 days, I can send it back.
Okay.
So I think the long-winded answer to your question is that this is why I've been purchasing more gear online than going to the store, just because stores often don't have what I'm looking for.
Okay. So for you, it's more it has to do with availability. Is the price a factor as well?
It can be. I'm just very budget conscious. Many years ago, I was a broke-ass musician and I couldn't afford anything. So whenever I was hell-bent on buying something, I would obsess over it for months and months and months just to make sure I was making the most logical purchase.
Okay.
Because there's nothing worse than buying something and not liking it. So
okay, gotcha. As for myself, it's actually so if I had to put it into percentages, for me nowadays it's about 60 to 65% online, and the rest I actually buy in stores. The reason for that is, well, yeah, for me it's the same thing. It's kind of, it has to do with availability. If I want something, and that goes in kind of the convenience factor. It's why Amazon is so successful with their business. They don't always have the cheapest price, but they always have availability in some form, you know. And for me, it's like, if I want to have something, I don't want to wait, I don't know, X number of weeks to get it. I want it as fast as possible. So sometimes, even though there are stores or online retailers that have a slightly cheaper price, I'm going with the one where I can get it right away. And there's some stuff that I still like to buy in store, just for the sake of not losing touch with how these stores are doing and how they are. And I'm in the fortunate position that in my hometown, which is Cologne, we have one of the biggest operations in the world, which is Music Store Professional, where I also used to work at. And we have a couple of smaller stores as well. So if, for example, like all the accessory stuff where I know they're going to make the most of their money on, I'm going to go there. I'm going to buy strings and all that other stuff in those small stores. So that's me. We have to kind of divide things a little bit between the US and Europe, because in comparison to the US, here in Europe, there's no MAP, minimum advertised pricing, which means if if I have a store, if I have an online shop of guitars, I buy the guitar from the distributor or the manufacturer, and I can sell it for whatever price I want, literally. And no one can tell me what price to put on the online store. That's a bit different in the US. In US, there is minimum advertised pricing, which means that the manufacturer or the distributor gets to decide what the sales price to the final or the advertised price on the website is. Now, that doesn't mean that I can't go into a store and ask for a discount and then get the instrument at a better price. I can do that, and I think it happens in a lot of cases. But the difference is the the general margin for stores to earn. And for those people who don't know what margin in sales mean, the margin is essentially what you have left, or is the difference between the price you sold an item for and the price you paid for it at the manufacturer. And so from that, uh, that goes into your earnings, but you obviously have to pay your employees, your facilities, and all these things from it. Now, we have way lower margins in Europe than we have in the US because of that. And that's why we see a lot of stores, especially in Europe, fading out, fading away, because they can't survive on the margins anymore. Some of them also close because the owner is retiring and there's no one to like follow. But a lot of them, they're like really really struggling. And for me, being a professional in that industry for like 26 years now, it's it's difficult to see that.